Intro. There's a truth about attraction that most people never understand. It's not just about looks, status, or charm. It's something deeper, something invisible. Women are not only drawn to what they see, they're drawn to what they feel when they're around you. And the difference between being liked and being desired lies in your energy, your presence, the quiet language of how you live, think, and move through the world. Today, we're exploring 5 things that turn women on more than sex, backed by psychology, science, and the timeless reflections of philosopher Agnes Callard, who teaches us that desire is not a single moment. It's a lifelong pursuit of growth, meaning, and self-becoming. Callard once said, "To aspire is to stand in a space between who you are and who you want to be." That's exactly where attraction is born, not in perfection, but in evolution. Not in what you already are, but in what you're becoming. In this video, we'll uncover how the most powerful forms of attraction come from your mindset, behavior, and emotional depth, not your looks or money. Each point is backed by modern psychology and scientific insight, but also echoes the wisdom of ancient philosophy, that a man who knows himself can move others without trying. So take a deep breath. Forget everything you've heard about tricks, tactics, or manipulation. We're diving into something real, something lasting. Because when you understand what truly draws women in, you don't chase attention. You create gravity. Let's begin. The power of emotional intelligence, not emotional control. One of the most misunderstood traits in men is emotional strength. Most people think being strong means being cold, but science and experience say the opposite. Women are drawn to men who can stay calm without being detached, who can express emotions without losing composure. According to a 2023 study from the University of Rochester, emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and regulate emotions, is directly linked to deeper attraction, stronger relationships, and higher perceived confidence. Because here's the truth. Emotional intelligence doesn't make you soft. It makes you safe. And safety, in psychological terms, is one of the deepest turn-ons there is. Agnes Callard would say this kind of strength reflects aspirational awareness, the courage to look within yourself honestly. When you can face your own fear, your anger, or your confusion, but without denial, you send an unspoken message. I'm human, but I'm grounded. That's magnetic. Think about it. A man who can stay present during chaos doesn't have to prove himself. He doesn't need to raise his voice, flex his status, or play games. He radiates calmness, and calmness is power. When you speak, she feels heard. When you listen, she feels seen. When you stay grounded, she feels safe to open up, emotionally, mentally, even physically. That's not just attraction, that's connection. And connection is what every human being ultimately seeks. So if you want to become more attractive than the average man, don't hide your emotions. Master them. Study them. Learn how they shape your decisions and relationships. Because a man who understands his inner world becomes irresistible in the outer one. Purpose, the silent aphrodisiac. If emotional intelligence creates connection, purpose creates admiration. Women are naturally drawn to men who are driven by something bigger than themselves. Not just busy, driven. Not just ambitious, anchored. Modern psychology tells us that purpose triggers the brain's reward centers much like love or passion. When a man pursues something meaningful, whether it's art, business, personal growth, or self-mastery, it creates a psychological aura of stability, confidence, and future orientation. Agnes Callard's philosophy aligns perfectly with this. She argues that aspiration is not about having everything figured out. It's about committing to a journey of becoming. When a woman senses that you're walking that path, striving, improving, evolving, it lights a spark that goes far beyond physical attraction, because purpose communicates direction. It tells her, this man is going somewhere, and that's deeply attractive. Even in evolutionary psychology, women are wired to feel drawn to potential, not perfection. A man who wakes up with a mission doesn't need to chase validation. He already has a compass, and that makes him powerful. You'll notice that when you're in flow, focused on your purpose, your energy shifts. You speak differently. You move differently. You become more deliberate, less reactive, and women feel that. It's not arrogance. It's alignment. It's the rare kind of confidence that comes from knowing you're living for something that matters. Callard once wrote that desire isn't about having, it's about becoming worthy of what you seek. So, instead of trying to impress, focus on improving. Instead of seeking attention, seek alignment. Because when your life has meaning, attraction becomes effortless. Purpose is not sexy because of what it gives you. It's sexy because of who it makes you. And that's a lesson most people never learn. The mystery of self-containment mystery, a word that so many men misunderstand. They think mystery means playing games, withholding messages, or acting like they don't care. But true mystery isn't about what you hide. It's about what you hold. It's the calm energy of a man who doesn't need to overshare, overprove, or overperform. A man whose silence feels intentional, not empty. Whose confidence doesn't need an audience to exist. Psychologically, this is called self-containment, the ability to feel full within yourself. It's not arrogance. It's presence. And presence, according to countless studies on attraction and charisma, activates deep subconscious signals of strength and stability. Agnes Callard would tell you, desire thrives on distance, not separation, but space. That's the paradox. When you know who you are, you don't rush to make others understand you. You let them discover you, slowly, curiously, authentically. When a woman senses that you have a rich inner life, dreams, thoughts, philosophies, and private rituals that define you, she becomes intrigued. Not because you're hiding something, but because you're holding something sacred. Mystery, then, is not manipulation. It's self-respect. It's the art of not collapsing your entire identity into the pursuit of approval. And here's where science meets philosophy again. Research in interpersonal dynamics shows that curiosity is the foundation of attraction. People are drawn to what they can't fully define, especially when that unknown carries the energy of calm confidence. So don't rush to fill every silence. Don't reveal your entire story too soon. Let your actions speak. Let your habits reveal your depth. Speak less. Mean more. Because when your energy says, I know who I am, she'll feel the pull, not from what you tell her, but from what you embody. True mystery is not a mask. It's a mirror reflecting how complete you already are within yourself. Integrity, the most underrated form of masculine power. We live in a world where talk is cheap and loyalty is rare. Promises are made easily and broken casually. But a man with integrity? He's unforgettable. Integrity is not perfection. It's alignment between what you think, say, and do. Agnes Callard writes about the journey of aspiration, the process of striving toward values you haven't fully mastered yet. That's what integrity truly is. You may not be perfect, but you're consistent in your pursuit of what's right. And to women, to anyone who values truth, that's electric. Psychologically, integrity triggers trust. It creates what behavioral scientists call predictable safety, a feeling that this person's word means something, that his actions match his promises, that he's solid when others are shaking. Integrity shows up in the smallest moments, when you respect someone who can't benefit you, when you keep your word, even when no one's watching, when you say no instead of saying what's easy. That's the kind of quiet masculinity that turns heads and builds loyalty. Because women aren't drawn to rebellion, they're drawn to reliability. To a man whose strength isn't reckless but responsible. In philosophy, integrity is a form of moral gravity. It's what keeps you centered when everything around you pulls for compromise. And it's deeply attractive because it's so rare. In a culture obsessed with image, the man who lives by principle becomes a signal of truth, a reminder that real confidence doesn't come from being admired. It comes from being honorable. So if you want to stand out, don't chase perfection. Chase principle. Be the kind of man who can look at himself and say, I'm not proud of everything I've done, but I'm proud of who I'm becoming. That's what integrity sounds like. And that's what desire feels like when it's built on respect, not illusion. Intellectual depth. The hidden aphrodisiac. There's a reason why conversations can feel more intimate than touch. Why a deep, late-night discussion can awaken chemistry more powerful than anything physical. It's because intellectual depth is one of the most powerful and underrated forms of attraction. When you think deeply, speak meaningfully, and question the world around you, you tap into something timeless, the eroticism of understanding. Agnes Callard, as a philosopher of desire, often reminds us that to desire something is to allow yourself to be transformed by it. That's what intellectual depth does. It transforms ordinary moments into moments of connection. Psychological studies confirm this too. A 2024 meta-analysis published in Personality and Individual Differences found that intellectual curiosity and reflective thinking are strong predictors of emotional attraction and long-term relationship satisfaction, often more than physical traits, because when you speak with thought, people feel your awareness. When you share ideas, not gossip, you separate yourself from the noise. Intellectual depth doesn't mean quoting books or using big words. It means thinking for yourself, questioning, reflecting, understanding. It's the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't fear silence, because his mind is alive even when his mouth isn't. Women are drawn to that kind of energy because it represents stability and growth, two psychological pillars of attraction. When you can discuss ideas, purpose, or even your failures with honesty and curiosity, you're showing not just intelligence, but emotional maturity, and that's rare. So, learn, read, observe people, ask deeper questions, not to impress but to understand. Because when your mind is expanding, your energy evolves with it. Callard once wrote that, "We learn to want what we cannot yet fully understand." That's the essence of desire, and it's also the foundation of attraction. When you live with curiosity, others feel inspired to grow beside you. And that's when attraction becomes something more. It becomes admiration. Because intellect without arrogance, curiosity without ego, that's what turns a man into a mystery worth knowing. Presence. The art of making every moment feel real. Presence. It sounds simple, but it's one of the rarest and most powerful traits in the world. In an age of constant distraction, a man who can truly be here becomes unforgettable. Presence means when you speak, your mind isn't elsewhere. When you listen, you're not preparing your next reply. You're receiving. When you're with someone, you're not chasing a better moment. You're honoring the one in front of you. Psychology calls this attentional resonance, the invisible harmony that happens when two people's focus syncs. And neuroscience shows that during such moments, the brain releases oxytocin, the same chemical responsible for bonding, trust, and intimacy. When a woman feels your full attention, it tells her something primal, that she's seen, heard, and valued, not for what she gives you, but for who she is in your presence. That's magnetic. Agnes Callard's reflections on aspiration remind us that attention itself is a moral act. It's how we honor reality. When you're present, you're saying, this moment matters. This person matters. You stop trying to impress and start to connect. Presence isn't loud. It doesn't rush. It breathes. It's steady, unhurried, and grounded in the awareness that nothing real can happen when your mind is elsewhere. You see, the reason presence turns women on isn't because it's rare. It's because it's safe. It allows them to relax into authenticity, to drop their guard, to feel understood without explanation. That's not seduction. That's depth. When you bring that level of focus into your relationships, your friendships, your work, you radiate something few people ever master, the energy of someone who's actually alive. Because the most attractive man in the room isn't the loudest. He's the one who listens like he means it, speaks like it matters, and lives like he's awake. Self-mastery, the final magnet of true desire at the core of every form of attraction. Emotional, intellectual, physical, lies one ultimate force, self-mastery. It's what binds every quality we've discussed. Emotional intelligence, purpose, mystery, integrity, intellectual depth, presence. All of them orbit around one truth. You cannot truly attract others until you've learned to attract yourself. Self-mastery isn't about control. It's about understanding. It's the discipline to act with intention, not impulse. It's the courage to confront your flaws instead of escaping them. It's the maturity to turn your pain into wisdom instead of resentment. Agnes Callard would say that to aspire, truly aspire, means to commit to the person you are becoming. Not the man who already has all the answers, but the man who keeps asking better questions. And that's what women find irresistible. Not perfection, but progress. Not dominance, but direction. Not a man who's finished growing, but a man who chooses to grow every day. Modern psychology calls this growth-oriented attraction. Studies show that when people perceive their partner as someone constantly improving, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they feel a deeper sense of admiration, passion, and trust, because growth feels safe, and safety, ironically, is the sexiest thing in the world. Self-mastery is also humility. It's knowing that your ego isn't your guide, your awareness is. It's waking up each morning with a question, not a claim. How can I be a little better today than I was yesterday? The man who learns this becomes magnetic. Because he's not chasing validation, he's chasing evolution. He's not performing confidence. He's living in alignment. That kind of man doesn't need to chase women. He attracts them naturally, through his discipline, his energy, his calm. Because self-mastery radiates something that can't be faked. Peace. And peace, in a chaotic world, is irresistible. The truth about desire attraction isn't a formula. It's a reflection, a mirror of who you are becoming. Every trait that draws others in, your presence, your purpose, your emotional intelligence, starts from within. And as Agnes Callard reminds us, desire isn't about possession, it's about transformation. So the real secret is this: don't try to make women like you. Become someone you deeply respect, and let that energy do the rest. Because the truth is, women don't fall for a man's looks or his lines. They fall for the way he makes them feel. And you can only make someone feel safe, alive, and inspired. When you've learned to feel that way yourself, you are the source. You are the energy. You are the foundation. So keep growing. Keep learning. Keep mastering your inner world. Because when your life becomes something you're proud of, your presence alone becomes attractive. And as Callard's philosophy teaches, to live well is not to chase what's desirable. It's to become what's worth desiring. So become that. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Because the most attractive thing in the world is a man who's finally at peace with who he's becoming.